Hello and welcome back to EAC, and today I'm here with my friend Ben, and we are going to be reviewing Parasite, which came out last year. Neither of us saw it in theaters last year. We actually just rented it now. Best Picture winner, and Bong Joon-ho, the director, he won, I think, 3 Oscars and then Best Picture, which is 4. It might have been 5 even. So that was kind of even more of a reason to watch this, and again, we just rented it, and a lot of stuff to talk about. I think what sets this movie apart from every other movie from last year, not only because it won Best Picture, of course, but because it feels like something that could happen now. Like The Lighthouse, that happened, and that takes place in the 1890s, and it's a crazy movie in the sense of like a world that none of us have ever seen before because it was so long ago. A lot of other movies like that too that you can't really relate to, but this movie, not that either of us relate to it, but we could see this happening today to a family not as extreme as it happens.
People have found people living in their basements and stuff.
Yeah, and
like there have been hidden rooms that they've found. So
there will be spoilers in this video, obviously.
Yeah, you kind of have to. We kind of have to address it.
Yeah, we have to get into them. So starting off, I guess we'll start with the main plot of the movie at the beginning. So there's a poor family, and they're kind of our main family that we follow the whole time. They're kind of the main characters, but I feel like everyone kind of shares the same amount, I guess. Part. And so we follow them, and the son, there are 4 people in the family, son, daughter, mom, and dad, and the son gets a tutoring job for a rich family. He is tutoring the daughter to learn English, and he gets into that family, and then at one point, the mom of the rich family says to him, they need an art teacher, an art
therapist.
Yeah, an art therapist for their son, their youngest son, the rich kid. And and then he talks about, my sister is, or no, he didn't say my sister, but it is his sister.
My cousin's friend at college in Illinois.
And he was like, oh yeah, she could teach really good art. So basically that goes on until everyone in their family gets into the house of the rich family working for them, but the rich family doesn't know that they're related, so it's basically a whole ruse of them just infecting their family, hence the name Parasite.
They just pull a whole ruse of them, basically, just pretending to be people they're not, and just having the whole family to have a good income.
I was never bored throughout this movie, and that's, I guess, pacing, like good pacing by the director. And he's made, I can't believe I've never noticed him before with some of his other movies before.
He's a foreign director. So.
Yeah, obviously. And so, I don't know, and all the actors as well. This feels like not just what the stuff I said earlier, with it feeling like, oh, it's real, that it could happen today. But also, I didn't know any of the actors or actresses in this movie, and I think that's kind of a part of it, that you don't see anyone and you instantly know that's a movie. I feel like at times it faded into being real life, even though it isn't, and again, I feel like that kind of has to do with us not really knowing the actors, so it just kind of looks like a regular family at times, and you don't really remember that you're watching a movie. You get so immersed into the screen that
it's not like
it
Brad
fades away.
Pitt's on your screen.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, it's Brad Pitt. It's like, it feels like real people.
Yeah, now I don't know what's like watching this in Korea. These actors could be pretty well known.
Yeah.
I have no clue, but this one way I defined this movie after I watched it was 2 different movies almost. You have the first movie, which is almost like a goofy comedy.
Almost, yeah.
Type skit. And then the second one...
Like a fun, lighthearted kind of movie.
And then the second one is almost like, what it is, a thriller, horror type of movie.
And
action.
Yeah, in the trailer, we watched the trailer right before we watched it. It said, one of the quotes from someone who reviewed it, New York Times or something, they said, it turns into something that you wouldn't think it would. And about, I think, halfway, this movie is 2 hours. It feels much longer than that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But around halfway, there is, so the housekeeper, the old housekeeper, she was replaced by the mom. As I said, they kind of take over everyone who, first of all, the 2 tutors, and then the dad becomes the driver. They find a way to get rid of the rich family's old driver so the dad could take over, and they say oh, I know this guy who's part of this company. So the mom takes over the housekeeper role. The old housekeeper comes in and she says, I forgot something in the basement.
Now the housekeeper has been here since the building was basically created,
many years.
And she's gone through different families, and she has strong connections to the house, and they make it very clear even in the beginning of the movie when the first kid first gets the job,
Yeah.
that she's been here for a while.
The way they get rid of her too, she has a peach allergy, so they take the peach fuzz like off of peaches obviously, and they like sprinkle it on her when she's not looking, and then
They
she
blame
just
her for
starts to get sick.
tuberculosis.
And the dad has like hot sauce. He puts it in the trash can to make it seem like she's like coughing up blood, and then that's the way that she gets fired, and that she's like so almost like deathly sick to these things, and she's just, I don't know. You wouldn't really want that.
They pulled
in
a
your house.
COVID-19 basically.
And they were turning, I want to get into this later, but I'll just talk about the basement part now. They go into the basement, and one of my favorite scenes, I think my favorite scene, when she opens up a big, almost like a cabinet, and there's a secret like bunker almost that goes down, and then the old housekeeper, she goes down and she yells out honey, and mind you, like the family is watching on. They're all in the house because the rich family left to go camping with like the son or something.
So they're just basically living there.
Yeah, they're living there, and they pretty much take over, but then when the housekeeper comes in, they kind of hide because they're not supposed to be there. Again, the rich family doesn't know that they're a family, so if the old housekeeper caught them, then they would be basically fucked. And they kind of are in the end at one point.
Yeah.
But so they go down, and the old housekeeper yells out honey, and then it's like, it's really, I think right there is where it picks up the most.
Because you don't know what's going on. You're basically in the dark with this. Because, like, at first I thought, I'm like, oh my god, is the dad, like, some mafia gangster and he locked her in there?
Yeah.
And she's, like, a slave or
Are
something?
there more people down there?
Yeah, is there, like, a whole secret society down there? Or is, like, she actually just crazy? Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really...
there's so many possibilities as you're walking down those steps because you have no fucking clue what's going on.
It's really creepy at that point, and they go down the music, too, as well. Right there, and they go down there, and it turns out there's, like, a crazy husband of the old housekeeper down there. And, they talk for a bit, I guess, and they just kind of explain what was going on, exposition, I guess.
And one scene you mentioned was questionable, was the classic falling down the stairs,
yes.
and getting caught.
So, again, the rest of the family isn't supposed to be there, so they're listening behind the stairs to the new housekeeper, aka the mom of the main family, talking to the old housekeeper and that crazy husband that she has down in the bunker. And the rest of the family, they're listening behind a wall, and at one point they fall off, like one of them slips, and they all fall behind the staircase, or out in front of view.
They basically get caught in the open in front
and
of
then
everyone.
Right there, they're all laying on the ground like they're hurt. It's all concrete down there, so they got hurt pretty bad by falling down a few steps. And then the old housekeeper whips out her phone and starts videotaping.
To send to the family while they're away. Like, oh, this is what's been happening. Like you said, it's just too perfect.
It's like it wouldn't have happened.
If that happened to me, I would have been super slow. First of all, I'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Who are you people? Or she already knows who they are, but like, you
seeing
wouldn't
them
just
there.
whip out immediately out your phone, know immediately what to do.
Literally, it was
Not
almost
take the
instant. They fall out, and then she takes it out, and she's like smiling, and then she hits record, and it's like, you wouldn't have done that in real life. With that on top of them falling down, it could have just been she walked in on them. Like,
especially the way they built up the housekeeper, the original housekeeper's character. She just wouldn't do that compared to how she's been the whole entire film.
Yeah.
Like, she was very slow, more like...
She was nice. She was not really... Didn't seem to be a problem.
Like,
and then she shows up at their door really creepily, like
even,
and then goes in.
Like, I can understand why she's, like, stressed and all this, but, like, I just couldn't... it's just... Her character archetype changes a lot after that one scene.
Yeah. And, so that was kind of a flaw for me, them falling out and then her instantly videotaping them. She did that because she was threatening them with her husband, and they're now out of the bunker area, and she threatened to send a video of the whole family there to the rich family to basically say, like, okay, they're here, and they're gonna get fired. And even though she already was fired, I don't know, they were basically, like, almost blackmailing them.
Yeah, and then she continues to film them as they're under her control. And then basically what happens is the family gets like this one break where she's not looking, and then all of a sudden a fight breaks out, and basically they steal the phone. Then everything just shit hits the fan basically after that part.
Everything, right there, I say when they go down to the bunker, everything picks up even more than it did before. And I really like the parallels between, so in that talk in the bunker, she said the mom of the poor family, well, not so poor anymore, she said, you're stealing food from these people because they were living in the bunker, or at least the crazy husband was, and then he would crawl out at different times, and we'll get to that creepy shot later.
That's probably my favorite shot. That's my favorite shot.
Yeah,
definitely.
really
that
creepy.
Scene, it's so creepy.
But he's been like taking food from them because he has to live down there, obviously. And the
basically
people
is an
don't know
animal.
that he's down there either. The rich family.
If you've seen Split, that scene where he's kind of crawling up the wall.
Yeah.
That's what you could probably. That's what I would picture the crazy guy we're talking about. Just picture him as that.
It was.
I think that would be the closest.
He
example
did give
of
off
picturing
vibes
that.
like that.
He gave
kind of
extremely psychopath Split vibes. Like if you want to think of someone, think of Split is what I'd pray. That's what came to mind for me when I thought of his character type.
So he's stealing food from them because, again, he has to live down there. The rich family doesn't know that he's down there. So the mom says, "You're stealing food from these people," when she is literally describing them. Like, they are pretty much stealing from this family as pulling off this big, elaborate plan. And they planned out really well. Both the director, Bong Joon-ho, and them as people in the movie, like the characters. They had scripts that they would say to try to get other people in their family into this kind of business.
It was an entire choreographed and planned stunt.
Yeah.
To do this.
And she, at one other point, I think it's in the bunker again, she makes another parallel. She says, like, you can't be doing this to these people when she and her family have been doing this the whole time. They faded away from them doing something really bad into seeing other people doing something just as bad as them, if not less bad, when they're doing something even worse. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you can't be doing this when they are, in fact, doing it themselves. I really like that about the movie, and also how this family, the poor family, and also the upper class, richer family, how we kind of cut in between them. And when the son goes into the house for the first time, he's like, whoa. This is crazy, like he's never seen it before. And I don't know, at that point in the movie I was like, I'm invested in it, I'm kind of immersed into it. That, I don't know, it's a really simple shot or a really simple scene that he walks in and he's impressed by everything, but you knew that it was going to be something of a really realistic thriller that you could relate to in some instances. Again, we can't really relate to it, but with that, yeah, when he just walks in, he's impressed by everything. At that point on, it's like it picks up with the rich family and the poor family, and then kind of paralleling each other.
Yeah, the scene we're talking about where it's like the fucking freaky eye scene.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's, what's the kid's name? Da-sung or Do-sung? Something like that.
Yeah, Da-sung, I think.
Anyway, he has these...
Sorry for saying that
basically,
wrong.
they allude at the very beginning of the movie, his drawings, and the sister of the poor family basically comes up with this thing like, oh, what happened in first grade? The mother starts just breaking down crying.
Yeah,
and
she's like, how did you know?
Yeah, so then we get those vibes right off the bat. Then that night when all the shit hit the fan, everything's kind of back to normal, like controlled.
Yeah.
The woman's basically has a concussion, and the other
they
guy
kicked down. The mom literally kicked down the old housekeeper into the bunker when the rich family came home because they can't see them there.
Yeah.
Like, it would just screw everything
and then the father was
tied
down
them
there
up and everything.
taking care of everything in the basement. But anyway,
it went dark, right there. They went from a family who was needy, but they felt they were doing something right, to, oh shit, they're doing some illegal shit here. Mm-hmm. Both of them, actually, the housekeeper too.
Yeah, but anyway, she starts describing while she's eating noodles. She describes to the mother, Da Sung's, or whatever his name is. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this. Why he has needs these therapy lessons, I guess you could say. Or why he keeps having these nightmares, or whatever is going on psychologically with him. And she describes, again, going back to the psychotic split man.
Yeah.
He was basically downstairs, middle of the night, eating cake. And, of course, this is when the guy probably usually comes up to do his routine of grabbing food. And it's a really nice, scary shot of just the stairwell, because this door, the way down to the basement, it's dead center in the room. Yeah. And just black, dark daytime, nighttime. And you just see his face just creep over the edge. His eye, no joke, his eyes are wide. White as can be.
Lighting up almost. When his eyes first came up, it was like a split
there had to be,
I swear they were glowing. I was like, what the hell?
There has to be some filter editing.
Yeah, because it was completely dark, and his head goes up and it stops about right here. I'd say.
I don't know. You can probably Google the image, but it lasts there for a whole 2 seconds.
It's such a quick shot.
I know, it's scary. Like, I thought immediately it was going to be like a horror movie.
Again, it like switches from that quote that person left on the movie. It changes from something that you think it might be into something totally different, but it also works in a way that it's not like how you said. You kind of have a flaw with it, how it's too lighthearted at some points, and like it's trying
At
to
the
make
beginning,
comedy.
it's comedy.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that's what the movie in the beginning was supposed to be. But then the transition from that side of the movie to this dark thriller side is good, but then they keep trying to put in that dark, cute comedy.
Yeah, it's like not the place for it anymore.
And you're so invested, like you said, into the movie, into the thriller part of the bunker, that you're not really generally focusing on the funny parts. So they don't really
we don't need that shit.
They don't
like,
really come off as funny at this point, and it just makes it takes up screen time, and it just makes things more awkward. Like it's like sidetracks you from the main point. Like when the teepee's going off and he's just laying there. I mean, I guess it's funny, but like, that's just one example. And then like, they also try to do some sidetracks, like during the birthday party with the whole sophomore and the main poor son having that romantic thing. Like too many side stories. They're trying to cover all. They're trying to cover all the bases at once.
Yeah,
and it just like we're focused on one thing. Like we're not gonna care about.
Yeah, too many subplots that I just. Honestly, or
they
not
could
too
have
many,
quick enough.
just
they
a
could have
couple,
just quick enough.
A couple subplots that I just didn't really care about that much, and I feel like again, like kind of took up screen time, just wasted time, you could say.
Yeah.
So later on in the movie, we're kind of, I guess, skipping towards maybe the end, but then again, the ending goes on for like a while long after that.
There's so much to explain. You kind of just have to watch it.
Yeah,
like you're probably extremely confused while listening to us talk.
Yeah,
about
if
this.
you've seen it, then you know what scenes we're talking about. But see the movie. We're obviously recommending it. It won Best Picture for a reason.
Yeah, this probably video would be better if you watched it first and knew what we're talking about to relate. Because if you're watching this now and you've not seen it, it's probably useless to you right now, but...
Yeah, you have no idea what we're talking about, but
so
later on...
apologies for the jumbling.
Yeah, later on in the movie, pretty much almost at the end, the creepy husband of the abandoned housekeeper comes out. He didn't... Oh, yeah, he just smashed the son's head.
So basically, with this...
with the rock.
Going before this, so they basically, when they walk up the stairs... The lights, it's like, know how you have those motion sensor lights? Basically, that's what they think is going on, when really it's the guy downstairs just, like, doing Norse code, essentially.
He thinks that he is, at least, because they don't know.
It's such a long storyline, because this could be a whole separate story. This is a whole separate storyline in itself, and that he's basically communicating to the little boy, because the little boy does Boy Scouts and Morse code. But anyway, getting to the more creepy side of it, he basically smashes his head against the buttons that turn on the lights.
He also praises him, the dad, too. He's like, he has a ton of pictures of him down near where the lights are, where he smashes his head against them. And at one point, he even starts bleeding, like on his nose or something.
And he just has blood going down like this.
Yeah, and then
that
goes to the end, too.
But it's just a whole separate storyline that we need to go back to the beginning to explain again.
Yeah, but anyway, so near the end of the movie, the crazy guy gets out, and then he takes, after smashing the son's head with a rock that we'll try to explain in a minute, but he smashes the son's head. The son isn't dead. In the end, he ends up living. And then he takes a knife and he goes outside where a birthday party for the young rich son is going on, and then he stabs the poor daughter first, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think she just falls to the ground. He takes the knife again and slashes at the wife. The wife screams and tries to fight him.
Yeah, and then she takes a kebab knife.
Yeah, a spear.
Yeah. And basically this fight's going on while the poor father is tending to the daughter. And then basically they have that slasher fight scene. The mother finally just impales him basically.
Yeah, and he's done. And then, and then there's this whole, I guess, motif going on in the movie with them smelling. There's a certain smell that they have, and they say at one point the family is under the table hiding from the rich family. This goes along kind of with earlier how we said they're not supposed to be there. When they come home, they try to hide because they can't get out of the house. They're under there. And then at one point, and not later in the scene because that leads to a scene later on. You guys know what we're talking about if you've seen the movie. But so at one point, I think it's the wife, the rich wife, that says the poor father like smells. He has a weird basement smell to him.
Yeah.
And this happens throughout the whole movie. They keep on like smelling something.
The little
out of
boy
them.
points it out at first that they all
Yeah.
smell the same.
Yeah. So that's, I guess that kind of gets him suspicious in a way. But later on, at the end of the movie, when the crazy guy is stabbed and he's like on the floor, and he had the keys, or he didn't have the keys, the keys were just under him, and the rich father was going to take the keys to escape. So he rolled over the impaled guy and took the keys, and then he smelled it, and he went like this, and it was in slow motion, and the poor father was just standing there. And I think that was the point when he just broke, and then he took the knife and stabbed the rich father in the chest.
No,
and he died.
This was building up. Like, the main thing was he was driving, and the wife, because they're going birthday shopping for the son, she said, "Thank God for the rains," and that's basically, if you watch the movie, basically it's like not tsunami. What is it called?
A hurricane.
A hurricane.
A flood?
Flood. Basically a flood, and their house is a basement. So basically, they have nothing. They're like homeless essentially. Yeah. And they're like sitting here like, oh, thank God for the rain. That's so nice out now in our yard.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so then
that's a good part.
So he's like, oh, my house is gone. Well, they're thanking God that the rain is.
And then she rolls down the window because she smells something, and he's just, the father is like a broken man at that point. And then when the final thing of the husband smelling something, he's just like, I'm pretty sure that goes with them just judging lower class people just by their smell, and that kind of goes with, because they have this family pretty much connected to their family now in these poor people, and I hate saying poor people, I should just say lower class people, but they're in their family now, and he's judging people just by their smells. And so the father at that point is like, I'm done with you, pretty much judging me and also this crazy guy who he doesn't care about, but still. So he takes the knife and stabs him, and then the dad is done. Yeah, and then that's the end of the movie after that. It goes on for a while though, and that's also another flaw that I have. The ending goes on for a while. The dad takes over as the crazy guy, you could say. He goes down to the bunker.
He basically hides out and escapes the police, and then he sends a Norse code to the son, hoping that gets it. The son does end up getting it, translates it, and basically it's revealed that the dad was just hiding there, and he's hoping that one day he can be, like, I don't know, saved or something.
Yeah, he could be with them.
Basically, he's fine, and that,
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing plenty well off down here.
Yeah,
he literally took place from the crazy guy. He steals food in the middle of the night. The daughter died as well.
Then it alludes to him, to the son writing a letter now to the dad.
Yeah. And
it shows him being now rich, wealthy, and he basically buys the property and then saves his father.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to him in the basement writing it. So I'm kind of confused. He was imagining him doing that, or whether that was the actual future where he actually becomes rich.
That was something that I didn't like that much.
Yeah. Because I don't know, it just causes too much confusion when you shouldn't be focusing on that part as much. Because the kid's obviously smart. He created the whole Rouse. He created that whole script. He did all that.
Yeah.
So he's obviously going to go somewhere in life. But I don't know. I just wasn't sure if it was that was the actual future, or if it was just
it was a bit jumbled right there.
Daydreaming about it.
And also, with them, okay, so I feel like we've been in this video. If you've seen the movie, then you know. But if you haven't, I feel like we're making out the poor people to be like the good guys when they are doing some sleazy shit. Like they murdered pretty much the old housekeeper. By the wife kicking her down the stairs. They tied up people, and they're pretty much stealing money from these rich people. No one's really clean in this movie, even though you don't really know who to root for. You feel bad for the old housekeeper she got pretty much kicked out just because they're spreading the peach stuff on her. Mm-hmm. And then you start to oh, that's wrong that the poor family is doing this, and then you feel bad for the housekeeper, but then the housekeeper tries to kill them as well as the crazy husband, and then it goes all around this movie.
Then also you root for the rich people because you're like, oh, it's just a regular family trying to live their life.
Yeah, and that's a good part in this movie, how it bounces between that.
Yeah, at first you're rooting for the poor family, then the housekeeper, or then the rich family, then the housekeeper, then the rich family.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the rich family thank God for the rain thing happens, then you're back to the poor family.
Yeah.
Then the housekeeper goes fucking haywire, and then
that that kind of goes with who
then it's
who
just
the
like
main
jumbled.
characters are.
Then it's just kind of like choose your side
yeah, pretty
on
much.
who you're gonna go for.
And that what I was saying with them being kind of sleazy and doing all this, I feel like they shouldn't have at the end, if it was real, they shouldn't have ended up rich. Because they were doing stuff that, I mean, the dad killed a guy, and then they end up basically at the end.
They only
the
got
son,
probation too.
Yeah, the son
That was like
ends up,
crazy.
the son earns enough money to buy the house of the rich family. They moved out at this point. He buys the house after he worked for money. I think that's kind of like a moral, because he's like, when he was writing the letter to his dad, he's like, I'm going to work for money this time instead of doing what we've been doing.
He learned his lesson, basically.
Yeah.
At first, in the beginning, he said, it was just one key part, he said, like, something about university, like, he was going to go to university, but he didn't have the time yet.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of like, I'm going to go to university.
Yeah.
He learned his lesson, essentially.
So, and then he gets enough money to buy the house, and then the dad comes out of the bunker, and then they hug, and then around there's where the movie ends. I feel like they shouldn't have ended up rich, because I feel like if you show them doing all this really kind of bad stuff, even though it's for their own good and they're just trying to get money to live better, I don't know, how they turn out rich, it makes it seem like, oh, if you do this, then it'll all turn out happy in the end. It was kind of a happy ending. I mean, the daughter's dead, but forget that part. They end up in the rich house and it all seems fine, even though they cause multiple deaths in the family. I feel like what you are trying, also, they said, at one point the dad is doing kind of, I feel like this part was a big dialogue part that kind of almost defines the movie, the whole movie in a summary, but almost without just telling you. He's like, when you make plans, they don't go as planned. They planned to get money, and then it goes that way too. So it kind of defies what he already said earlier in the movie with his big monologue to the son, and then the son starts crying with a rock that we could talk about. But yeah, the ending goes on for a bit too long. I feel like it could have been cut at any of the different transitions that they have, and also I don't love how they turned out rich. But with The Rock, this is probably the last thing that we'll try to explain, because yeah, I feel like we covered just about every big moment in it.
Yeah. One thing I want to add while we're still on the topic of the ending was when he was rich, it also leaves a lot of open-ended. Now, I get this is a movie, it's fictionalized, it's fiction, or like, what's he called, realistic fiction. One thing that's open-ended with the whole being rich thing, he houses his father and his mother now.
Yeah.
So what happens when he gets married? Like, they clearly are gonna know that his father's
Also,
like a
the
serial
rich
killer.
family, they didn't really give a conclusion to them. Are they, you know,
They
they
just
moved
moved
out,
out.
but are they, what happened to them? The
Then
dad's dead.
Then the German family took over.
Yeah,
We're
they
not.
said-
That was like a minor part, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just, I didn't love the ending. I liked it.
The ending was not bad.
I
but
felt
it was,
fulfilled by the end of it.
The ending
That's kind of the point.
was not bad, but it could have been. I feel like it was a little rushed.
I feel like it was
a tad bit.
all over the place.
Yeah,
at
they
some
kind of
points.
just started to tackle
They were-
all those storylines and like
Yeah.
kind of wrap them all up into one. And it was like, well, when you have that many storylines, you kind of can't connect them all.
Yeah, I feel like Bong Joon-ho, he thought that everything in the movie had to be explained in the end. I feel like he felt that if he left it open-ended, then people would be like, oh, but what happened to these people? Even though he did end up leaving out the rich people.
That was going to happen no matter what, though.
Yeah, but I feel like he had this set in his mind that, okay, we have to explain everything that happens in the end so people know what we're kind of going for, instead of leaving it really open-ended with something like The Witch or The Lighthouse. And talking about The Lighthouse, I don't know which is I think The Lighthouse is still my favorite movie, but this movie is definitely up there for my favorites of last year at least.
Yeah.
Anyways, past that, not a huge fan of the ending, but I liked it. I felt fulfilled in the end. That's kind of the point of an ending in a movie, especially a movie like this. You kind of need that, but yeah, just some minor things that add up to be kind of a flaw. But with The Rock, last thing like we were about to say,
It's a big part.
It's a big part
It's
of
kind
the
of
movie.
like the plot.
It does.
anchor.
It
It's
kind
the
of
plot
revolves around
anchor.
it. And so it is given by a friend of the poor boy, the poor son.
He was
in
the
family.
original English tutor.
Yeah.
And he had a crush on the girl he was teaching. It's unnecessary. It's just another little side plot. But anyway, basically, he gives him a rock, and I don't know if this is like Korean religion or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but it's a rock of wealth, and it brings good wealth, I guess. And you can take care of it and clean it and whatever. And basically they just kind of revolve around this rock, and it's not just like wealth, like happiness. It's materialistic
Yeah.
type wealth, like money, possessions, and they allude a lot that it's like, oh, the rock is doing its job type thing. Like,
I said
we
that at
are
one point
here.
too. I was like, oh, the rock worked when they were literally pretty
yeah.
much living in the house. This rock, also the son says that he's like
He
clinging
clung
to it.
him, like he grabbed it out of the river, just floated to him.
Yeah.
And he just hanged on to it. He had like an obsession with the rock.
Oh,
which may
shoot.
show.
I just realized like he becomes wealthy in the end. That could be something with it.
I was also thinking that could show his obsession, like how he just becomes materialized and not like more spiritual type thing. Like he's very materialistic. Like I need money. I need.
Yeah, he even said
basically.
at the end with the voiceover, he was like, I plan on going to university and having a wife and kids, but money first. He's like, but I'm going to make money first.
But he said marriage is great and all, but I don't need that. And then he said university and money and stuff. And he put like the love part, more emotional type stuff, put that down. Yeah, and then the crazy guy ends up smashing his head with it. He lives. He has this like laugh condition. What Joker has actually, because like an operation. Type thing. I think it goes away after. Yeah, but it was kind of weird. Yeah, so that's kind of the rock. Pretty sure there's a video about it. I think IGN did an explanation video on it. So you guys could watch that. Probably a better explanation. That's all. I think that's more theory type stuff. Like, oh, he's he's materialistic now, and like. There's a lot of theories that could revolve around the rock. Yeah, this is kind of the best that we could have done with this review. Again, go watch the movie. It'll be much better than us just telling you. This review is going to be making no sense to you if you haven't watched it. If you have, though, then hopefully you enjoyed seeing us review this movie. I would give it... Well, what would you give it first? I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It was good. It flowed very nicely. The transitions were great. A lot of the cinematography was pretty cool. I like a lot of the shots. You like that shot when it goes over and it's an overhead shot of the daughter laying down, and then you see the hand poke out with the thing. Him walking down the steps too. Yeah, that was cool. I like that. And then there was another shot, but I don't remember. I'm not gonna delve. The eyes. Oh my god, that's so scares. That's so. Oh my god. Didn't you like pause it and look at me and go, "Oh shit," or something? And then we went back and rewatched that as well as them going down. That's gonna like give me nightmares. That scene. That part was scary. It did turn into a horror movie. It's just how bright his eyes. I don't know. I don't want to delve into that. But yeah, again, they tried to keep riding this comedic, dark comedy type thing throughout the movie, and it just didn't match. It's two different movies, basically. And, you know, the side story, like the romanticism and just little side plots that wasted time, basically. That was my only complaint. Other than that, it was a pretty good movie. I liked it a lot. 9 out of 10. Yeah, and I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well. I could give it a 10 out of 10. I was actually thinking about it, but storyline-wise, I give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, very original, and... Is that something that he won for? An Oscar? Like, Best Original Screenplay, I think? Something like that, It might have been that, even. But just the things I have wrong with it, I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10 when there are multiple things wrong with it. Again, the ending, just all that stuff, as well as them falling and her taking the video just seemed a bit unrealistic to me. And some other stuff that we talked about with you, like the comic relief, I kind of agree with that, not really working at all times. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for both of us. Our first time watching Parasite, really good. Yeah. I think it deserves Best Picture. Both of us really enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this review. Obviously, we're recommending the movie. Thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Bye.